Hello everyone and welcome back to Let's Play Megaman X7. In the last part we got through Splash, Warfly, and Tornado Tanyan stage, taking care of them completely in the process, and now it's time for Flame Hyenard. Does anyone else hear that, or is that just me? Oh god, we're here, aren't we?
Flame Hyenard!
Time for the stage I took on first when I first played the game. Probably not the best choice for that, honestly, compared to some other ones at least. This factory refines energy from lava. Watch out, you'll melt if you touch that molten rock. What's that? Lava's insta-kill in a Mega Man game? You don't say! There's a time bomb next to the target. You must complete the rescue before the bomb explodes. The other mechanic this stage has going on is that there are time bombs littered throughout at least the first half that are often there to try and take out any Reploids you're here to also rescue. There's also flying Mavericks for Axel to A-trance into if you need to. And if you want to get all the Reploids, you will need to do it because there's one or two that are hidden just too far out of reach for most characters to reach throughout the game. Now, the reason that this is probably a bad starting stage is especially if you're rushing, trying to get the Reploids. There's a lot of enemies here, and because of that, it's very easy to take a lot of damage very quickly if you're rushing. Honestly, I would recommend doing almost any other stage in the game first that's not Snipe Anteaters, Wind Crow Rang, or even some of the others now that I think about it. Also, if memory serves, I believe Flame Hyenard and his, getting a little bit ahead of ourselves, infamous voice acting is voiced by the same voice actor as X, if memory serves. Now, admittedly, a little bit of a funny coincidence I found. This is super minor. I don't even know why I'm really talking about this. Whenever I research stuff for an LP, be it the voice actors they use or all that, if I'm going for voice actors, I usually go on behind the voice actors, because not only is it like a super dedicated source that's, if not 100% complete, it's complete enough that IMDb feels very inferior in comparison. While I was looking it up, if I'm recalling correctly for this game, I think the order the Mavericks voice actors are listed is the exact same order I take them out in, because it's the weakness order starting from Soldier Stone Kong and moving onwards. That's just, seeing that just made me chuckle when I was looking into it, because I'm realizing, oh, this is the exact order things are being done. Also, it's partially maybe just me going slightly insane, but I swear Flame Hyenard's stage theme, this next Reploid's always this tight to get, by the way, in my experience. I swear Flame Hyenard's theme, maybe it's just the instruments they use, the general motifs they go for, sounds almost exactly like, I forget if it was Crisis City or Flame Core's theme from Sonic 06. And I can't tell if that's just my mind making up, because I haven't played 06 in several years at this point, as most people probably should. But it's one of those things I hear and I'm like, it's almost the exact same song. This Reploid's also usually very close. I don't like how they place some of the Reploids in these stages in this game. Don't get me wrong, they had some pretty dickish placements for them in X6, especially the ones over the Bottomless Pit and Infinity Virginian stage come to mind, let alone those that are basically right, those that have nightmares in X6 right on top of them. But in this game, it feels like they're placed more haphazardly, because usually there might be an enemy like 2 feet behind them. If I'm recalling correctly, the next Reploid is also a really annoying one, because there's another one of those giant flame dragons we've been seeing since Splash Warfly stage, about 2 feet behind it, and if you're too slow to getting to it, it's just dead. Either that or you just don't let the other enemies spawn. Also, I forget if I show it off, but just to my southwest right now is another Dr. Light capsule. No, it looks like I do not show it off in lieu of showing it off when I do a cleanup later. Okay, that's fair enough, past me. Don't go immediately into this capsule, by the way, or teleporter if you want to get all the Reploids, because they sneakily hide one right up here in the corner. I don't know why, but a lot of the Reploids in this game always reminded me of something. I should note first, I believe every single stage has a unique Reploid model, so you're just capturing 16 of the same ones in that regard. There should be a transporter that warps to the factory core. Darn, the heat's blocking our search. Welcome to the 3D section, where you just have to go along this giant bunch of platforms and hopefully not fall into the bottomless pit of lava. What was I saying? I don't know why. Some of the Reploid models in this game remind me of the GameCube Custom Robo, and I can't tell if that's just because of their very limited animations or if because, you know, this is a 6th generation console game from around the same year span. I think Custom Robo GameCube was around 2004, wasn't it? That they just have very similar texturing. Yeah, 2004, I was right. Actually, that puts that very close to this game's release, if I recall correctly. Megaman X7. Yeah, this game was released... Oh, no, this game was released in 2003 in the US. Thought it was 2004 for the PC version in Korea. I forgot that existed. Huh. Well, I guess now putting PC/Steam in the playlist title makes double sense. Also, I haven't talked about it thus far, but this section definitely highlights one of the biggest problems in the 3D sections of X7. The enemy pop-in is atrocious. Same with Reploids. They will not pop in until you're almost right on top of them in certain instances. Oh, that's bad knockback. And yeah, it's really annoying because, like, look over there in the distance, that platform on the far side of the screen right now on the very top. There's a Reploid over there, but you can't see it until you're right on top of it. And that makes looking for all these things a complete nightmare behind the scenes. I almost miss X6's designs in that regard because as long as it was on screen, you knew it was there. And they never really hit anything super off-screen, barring maybe what's-his-name, Sheldon's light capsule, Maginian's life capsule, and light capsule. Speaking of badly hidden power-ups, that's a very easy to get heart tank. With that said, it's also very easy to die getting it, as those giant steam puffs you saw coming out of the pipes. Yeah, those hurt you and can knock you back into the lava, so be careful. By and large, Flame Hyenard stage, despite it being the one I used to start with, is honestly probably one of my least favorites now, just because it's so bland, I feel, compared to some of the other ones. And that says a lot, because I don't think many of the game's levels are interesting to begin with. Not for nothing, though. Well, I think as a Mega Man game, this, like, the run-and-gun aspect is kind of a flop in a lot of ways. I think they really nailed Zero's controls in this game, at least in terms of his special abilities, like how they balanced, how to use them between the square and triangle buttons and all that. Now, the actual controls still being a little bit sluggish, that's a different thing entirely. Time for the memes, because it's boss time.
Oh, it hurts! Hyenard? Oh, it's you that's causing my suffering! Then if I tear you to pieces, the pain will stop!
Don't worry, I have just the cure.
You know, not for nothing, that's a pretty raw line, Axel. After this Alia dialogue, though, I now present to you 15 to 20 seconds of this fight's audio unedited. There must be a weak point on that mechanoid. Okay, it's its legs joints. Hit them to slow him down.
Burn! Burn to the ground! Burn! 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 Burn to the ground! Burn! 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 Burn to the ground! Burn! Burn! Burn to the ground! Burn to the ground! Burn to the ground!
Burn to the ground! Burn to the ground! Oh god, that voice line not only is very peaky audio-wise, but awful audio balancing on it. Either way, Flame Hyenard's a bit of an odd fight in that he sends clones at you while you're on the floor, and you need to climb his mechanoid to actually fight him. In which case, he'll spawn his clones back up here and try to either throw fireballs at you while rotating around the center of the body, or eventually all three of them will just try to charge into you to try and bump you up. If you're not on the center of this mechanoid, though, he does have two other attacks where the main Hyenard will be on the head of the mechanoid and fire fireballs at you, and missiles will come out of the slots I'm standing on right now to try and home in on you. The D-Glaive is Zero's best bet here, as as long as you can lead your shot properly, he gets looped into this pattern really easily. I also think it just does more damage than the Splash, whatever the hell we got from Splash Warfly does, barring maybe the charge shot with X later on. So it's just more worth it to go through it like this. Also, the D-Glaive can still reflect projectiles. It's just super awkward in terms of doing so. Those are the missiles. But yeah, this guy's a little bit of a meme. I've been making fun of this guy even before I knew it was, like, known that this guy's audio was awful. And that's partially because I died to him so many times because this was the first stage I did in the game. This is not a good first boss fight in almost any circumstance. Also, the more HP you do to him, he does get faster in terms of the actual running, so lead your shots a bit further. And yeah, I'm almost dead. Again, you can take a lot of uneven damage in this game, it feels like. Now, before we go over to the mission select screen, I do want to highlight one other thing, and this reveals a little bit of another thing I had to do for this LP. The Japanese version of X7's Flame Hyenard fight. Let's take a listen to how the audio is over there. Now, I forget if I have that audio around the exact same level. I might have to raise or lower it so it's equal to the actual X7 fight. But holy shit, Japanese Flame Hyenard is so much less annoying to listen to. His voice clips are not only better balanced, they don't peak, they're also not a full sentence. It's just like a single, almost onomatopoeia. It's so much ridiculous how much easier that fight is to listen to in the Japanese version. Either way, for beating him, we get Baku Engine. While standing, press the R2 button. This weapon creates an immense circle of flame by hitting the ground with energy. It's his usual shockwave sort of attacks he's been getting since Rakuha in X4. X and Axel get an ability known as Circle Blaze, which shoots a fireball forward that eventually explodes. Axel also gets a new weapon, Double Bullet, which I think has a higher rate of fire and can target 2 enemies at once. Again, though, while you can still do the thing from X4 where the special weapon's on the triangle button so you can just spam fire the main weapon, the damage values are different, so it might not be entirely worth using depending on your playstyle. Mind you, it also would imply that you use Axel at any point after you've gotten X unlocked. Speaking of which, that was our 4th Maverick stage, and I've rescued every single Reploid in all the stages thus far. Thus, we have rescued 64 out of the 128 Reploids, exactly half, meaning we've now unlocked Megaman X for play. At least we will after this cutscene set.
Red Alert has changed completely. They aren't the friends I knew anymore.
Axel.
All they cared about was their own power-ups, while I devoted myself to data collection. At first, I thought it was to help them, but the scale of their thievery escalated. Soon, I couldn't stand it anymore, so I jumped ship and...
And what?
It's nothing. It's just... Nobody in Red Alert had the ability to use DNA data to power up Reploids.
So, there's a missing link.
The rescue of a captured Reploid is progressing smoothly, thanks to those two.
Yes.
But it's causing a lot of damage. Is there nothing that can be done?
Not much. Even Zero has his limits. Axel is doing good work, but he's still a child. We can't expect much more with their present abilities.
Zero, do you read me? I'm going too. Take me with you.
X?
Okay. Do as you please.
To finish things, I've got to do it. To finish this once and for all.
Yeah, let's show that Red Alert how it's done.
Hallelujah, we can play as X finally. And because of that, we have some light capsules we can now go collect with him. Again, that only happens if you collected half of the Reploids. In fact, I've had playthroughs where I just kind of fudge things a little bit. Now you can play with X. Good to have him back. And yes, he is. Yeah, what I mean by fudge playthroughs, I'll just go into stages collecting Reploids and not defeating any of the bosses or getting items until I get X back, because I just don't like playing as Axel that much. Because ultimately, they're very similar characters. Axel has a higher rate of fire from memory, as long as you can mash well enough. But to compensate, X has a higher damage potential. Let alone his charge shot does ridiculous damage in this game. Also, not for nothing, I honestly really like the blues they use on X in this game for some reason. It's more or less the same values as usual, but with the actual, like, filters the game has, it looks sharp. I like it. With that said, let's now jump over to the light capsule we're here to get, back towards the end of the stage, right before the EX tank location, if memory serves. Haven't done this voice in a while. My dear X, take these feet parts. With these, you can glide. Jump with the X button, and press the X button once more. But you must use them only to do good. Promise me. So, X's armor in X7, maybe it's because they went for the 3D angle, is more mobility focused, I feel. Because the leg parts, instead of being some sort of extra dash, are just straight up a fly button. It's actually a better glide than Axel's glide, barring the fact that Axel's stays at an even altitude while X slowly sinks vertically. With that, it's now time for us to go to the next stage that we haven't gotten something yet. We have to go back over to Flame Hyenard's stage immediately, because his stage contains a very, very important item in terms of the armor set. Right here near the last dragons, like I brought up, down below me is the next light capsule. Good old X. Take this buster part. It will let you charge special weapons. But remember, it must only be used for good. So while it does allow you to charge special weapons like basically every single buster part in a light capsule from the X games, it also does upgrade your charge shot, but not in the way it usually does. It doesn't give you a third level of charge. Instead, when it's fully charged, not only does it fire a big charge shot, it also fires 4 little options to it that will home in on enemies that the main charge shot hits, and that can pile up to a lot of damage. Honestly, there's a lot of bosses I would argue the weakness is more so X's fully charged X buster parts, rather than any charged special weapons. With that said, the charged special weapons in this game range from great to eh. There are some that are just outright better, like the Splash Buster, whatever the hell the name, Splash Laser. In fact, I'd argue this is one of the best charge shots in the game because this goes for a while and can do a lot of damage. Admittedly, like most Buster charge shot parts in the X series, some of the weapon charges aren't as useful. Like, I don't know what the hell's with Gaia's shield, but, oh well. With that said, let's now get the hell out of this stage. Also, I should note, when you clear a stage you've already beaten, you just get this kind of cutscene. But with that, I'm going to need to end this off here. Thank you guys for watching, and in part 5... more Mavericks now that we have X. What did you think it was going to be? It's a Mega Man game. See you guys then!